This video covers what you need to know about greatest common factor. If you missed class today, in addition to watching this video, make sure that you complete the Nearpod, the makeup version linked for today's class, and that you complete 4.16 practice and 4.16 exit ticket. All of that is linked below this video. So the first word that we defined in class today was the word factor. And you might be familiar with the word factor from when you learned multiplication. A factor is simply a whole number that you can multiply to produce a product. So factor times factor equals product. And of course, product is just the answer to a multiplication question. Now, when we think of factors, we're thinking about whole numbers. So whole numbers that you can multiply to produce whole numbers, I should write. We can multiply to produce a given factor. So for example, and I said to produce a factor, I should have said to produce a product. Let's say that we have the number 15. 3 and 5 are factors of 15 because we can multiply 3 times 5 to get 15. Now, when we think of the GCF, or the greatest common factor, we are thinking about the largest factor that two numbers have in common. And that's pretty, self-explanatory by the title, the greatest common factor, the greatest factor that they have in common. To find the greatest common factor, you always want to follow two steps. Step one is to list the factors. Step two is just to circle the GCF, or the largest number that those factors have in common. So let's do an example. Let's say you're looking for the GCF of 10 and 25. Step one is to list all the factors of 10 and 25. I know that 1 times 10 is equal to 10. I know that 2 times 5 is equal to 10. For 25, I know 1 times 25 is 25, and I know that 5 times 5 is 25. So there aren't too many factors of these numbers. I'm going to clean up what I have so I can write it in a neat list from least to greatest. 1, 2, 5, 10, and 1, 5, 25. And I can pretty clearly see that the largest number that shows up in both lists, the greatest number that they have in common, is 5. So I'll just go ahead and write down for step 2, my GCF is equal to 5. It's the greatest factor that both numbers have in common. You've got plenty of other examples to practice today. There's a video embedded in your Nearpod, but if you need extra help, don't forget that you can always see me in office hours.